Kyle here from All Media Reviews. Sorry I haven't been able to do videos the last week. I've just been busy with stuff, 4th of July stuff. We didn't do a lot. We did go to a movie. We did see Despicable Me 4. I could do a review. Here's the quick review. Pretty good movie. Better than the last Despicable Me, but anyway. Worth seeing if you like the other movies for sure, and like the Minion movies. The Minions are the best part, but and I've been trying to watch, but a movie that I was going to see back in April, is far back, called The Greatest Hits, which watched like the first 45 minutes of it. I like it. Story about a woman who, her boyfriend dies in an accident. They like had a music connection, and she plays records that she gets memories and goes back in time. It's got Lucy Boynton, who was in like Sing Street and also Bohemian Rhapsody, and I feel that she was in the Barbie movie last year. And it has Min Lee, not Min Lee. Not Min Lee. I know it's my friend Min Lee. The guy that was in Asian drama, like comedy, romantic comedy. Ju Min Lee, I think it is. I think it's Nelly Furtado's in it. Austin Crew. Justin H. Min, rather. Sorry about that. Retta also, who was on like Community and stuff like that. So anyway, I'll maybe try doing a more proper review. So I want to do a prog metal list that I've done, but I'm going to show copies. But I'm doing a separate video that sort of a follow-up to the Prog Corner's prog metal stream, top 10 prog metal album stream. But I'm going to do that separately. So what I want to do in this is sort of a video blog, and I will go over a review. Let me go over the news, the news stuff. It's like the new releases. Like Cloud Cult put out another video. Their new album's coming out. I haven't done a new release calendar update in a while. Maybe I'll find a way to get to that either later this week or next week. Unfortunately, I've been dealing with some other stuff. We had a death two deaths technically in my family, different parts of my family. So that was not really expected. And then a friend of mine, his mother passed away, so it was just all this stuff sort of coming at me at once. But we did see Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis free at the Taste of Minnesota, my wife and I, on Sunday, played for like an hour. But I'll talk about that in a minute. But the biggest piece of news from my radar and a lot of people's radar is Kevin Gilbert's estate posted for the first time in a while. I don't know if it was officially. He posted on the Bruno did, Wayne Perez. Happy, Kevin Gilbert's Happy Snappy Fun Show, which I think is a private group on Facebook, but you can get access. Maybe it's public, but anyway, this is what he wrote. I'll just kind of go over this quickly. The ending is about to begin. Been away for just over a year in a self-imposed research and production exile. We thought we had most of the pieces ready to go for the final wave. However, while conducting interviews for the You Are Here podcast, new information was revealed. From that, we pieced together some major holes that were in question. Many more details will be announced in the coming days and weeks. The final 6 KMG Archive Series CDs, so there's 6 more coming, are in production. The Shaming of the True multi-disc set details and promotion begin this week. Today's Tuesday, the 9th of July, 2024. Additional memorabilia will be made available, including the Shaman of the True LP test pressing sets, handwritten lyrics, and more. To whet your appetite, he spelled wet, W-E-H-T, I don't know if he meant to, but I did uncover a few previously unreleased studio tracks that fit nicely within the archive series. The Shaming of the True multi-disc set, as well as the final item we have set for release. We will also be posting some previously unreleased material on YouTube and Facebook. Feel free to ask questions with understanding that some info might not be ready for public consumption. There's a picture, some of the shaming stuff, picture of giraffe, thud sign, some other stuff, and like the caviar mask, like a inverted keyboard. I don't know if it's like from when you play with Eddie Money, but and then he did ask. I asked a couple questions. Some people asked some questions. I asked the first question was because Shaming the True multi-disc that they've talked about. Or I thought it was a box. It's a multi-disc. well, Shaming the True was originally released in the year 2000, like late 99. I'm wearing one of my Shaming shirts today. So 2025 is technically the 25-year anniversary, or it'd be 25-year anniversary this fall from 1999. So are they releasing it to coincide? I think they're going to want to release it coincide with the 25-year, kind of like they did the Thud was the 20th, in 2015. There's that, and I ask about the streaming question, which is ongoing, never ending. It's always brought up, and that the belief that the Shaming of the True multi-disc was the end game per se, and which would then the streaming digital portion of Kevin's music would be likely addressed. Although some of it also had to do with basically selling out of all manufactured inventory they had of compact discs. So I asked about a lot of the stuff that's on the Shaming. I forgot to include the Shaming of the True, of course. Giraffe, the Giraffe albums. Call Me Kai from 2021. 21? Yeah, it was 21. Nuts/Bolts compilations from 2009. Caviar, of course. Live at the Troubadour. Toy Matinee Live at the Roxy. And then the Giraffe Landmines on Broadway. And Wayne, he responded by saying that some details about the Shaming of the True will be coming this week. Call Me Kai and the Lamb are CD only. So the Lamb thing, while I think from a beneficial standpoint would be great, I don't necessarily my personal need to have it on streaming, but I think it would be to reference to people. The Call Me Kai thing though, that one kind of sucks if they're not going to ever put that. Maybe eventually they will if they do sell out of all the inventory they have left of those compact discs. Even if they put it on his site, but because it has so much stuff on it, it's 4 discs. I mean, it's like 37 tracks or something, and it would just be great to be able to go to on Spotify or even refer to people on YouTube, listen to Goodbye LA, to listen to the Puppet Suite, or what is it? Not Tired Little Man Suite, rather. It just would be great to have some of those other tracks. I love on that compilation, but the fact he's not really addressing the other ones suggests that a lot of this other stuff will be showing up in streaming, including the Giraffe albums, which would be really important for me. I hope they actually have the correct release years at least for Power of Suggestion. I'm going with 1988 at this point with Power of Suggestion, but Nuts and Bolts has a lot of stuff too. Of course, songs like Finally Over You and The World Gets Small. There's a lot of stuff on there that would be great to have on Spotify and on streaming. So it's exciting that we'll be getting more information. I'll talk about it again or whatever. Getting the test pressings, well, I would want that, obviously. I can't imagine the price that's going to be going for. You could be talking north of $200 or more dollars. Be tempting, but I don't know. Handwritten lyrics and some of this other stuff you mentioned, some unreleased tracks, these podcasts that are going to be coming up, which the last podcast was sometime last year, maybe even 22. I don't remember. And these 6, obviously, the archive series, which I don't know if again this time frame. We're going to get that time frame soon. It sounds like, but if it's all just going to come out in the next couple months. That's what I've noticed the pattern with Kevin Gilbert's estate, the way they'll go quiet for a while and then they'll just kind of go at you 1 month after, or even a few weeks, or 1 month after another. Not that it's bad, but I kind of like it when it's spaced out a little bit, but I don't know. I guess beggars can't be choosers. I'd be happy with any of this stuff. So, but yeah, that's exciting. We're going to finally get that multi-disc, whether it's going to be next year or maybe the end of this year. And then I get to, address, the big project I did with Thud. I don't know when that's going to be. I'm assuming we get a thing like this, that's the multi-disc for the Shaming of the True. We're going to, beyond this, I will want to at least intend to do the Shaming of the True tracks, or the Shaming track series, which It probably will be as many, if not more, videos actually, because I think it's gonna be a lot of unreleased stuff. But it's gonna be it was a fun project to go through this sucker and the other ones from the. But it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be an even larger kind of extensive project, which I hope I'm not gonna compromise and not gonna be like feeling like I'm not gonna be able to get it done in time. But I want to, of course, because it's such an album that I love so much that I still think it's worth doing. All right, so what was the other thing? I could talk about Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. I am going to the Family Crest tonight also, so I could have done like a twofer review, but I'll talk. I got some clips of it. I mean, we went to Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. They don't play live very much. They played in Philadelphia like a week ago, or just some jazz festival 2 weeks ago, something like that. The guys, of course, they were in the time. They were part of the time. They worked with Prince in the early days. They were part of the time, that whole relationship. But then they went on their own. Most notably, they produced for Janet Jackson, not her first record, but it was like those Control and Rhythm Nation 1814 and the self-titled. They worked with Alexander O'Neill. They worked with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, just got in the Rock Hall. Granted, I was looking at their sort of body of work. Really, after the 80s, they didn't have any per se like notable hits, and their real big latch on to like sort of like large Billboard success relates to Janet Jackson. They have worked with Mariah Carey, but it was really the last 25 years. It wasn't in the 80s or 90s, rather early in her career. They worked with like Johnny Gill, and they did work with Human League. So seeing them live, they played that song from Human League, "You're Only Human" or whatever it's called. It's like a sort of a power ballad. They also played. They of course did. They produced. I think it was Cheryl's version, and then Robert Palmer made it even bigger hit. I didn't mean to turn you on with not Robert Palmer, but with Power Station. They did play that too. I don't know. The singer they had Ruben Studdard from American Idol there, but it wasn't Cheryl. And I mean, they obviously played a lot of the Janet stuff. They played one of the Alexander O'Neill tracks, "Fake." You're a fake baby. The album was actually produced here. And of course, I always point this out to my wife. The guys from Sussman Lawrence, Peter Himmelman, and some of the other guys, Jeff Wolovich, I would guess, and Al Wolovich rather, and Jeff Victor, they were part of Alexander O'Neill's backing band at one point. So Alexander O'Neill doesn't live here. He lives like in like England or something like that. He's a born again. He's like Al Green kind of, but it was cool to see them play some of their music. I mean, Jimmy Jam was on the guitar. It was at Taste of Minnesota, and Taste of Minnesota hasn't been around. It was around in like when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s in St. Paul here, and in the 2000s. And the one weird story about Taste of Minnesota was when I saw Roger Hodgson of Supertramp with my friend. I think it was 2008 or 2007. And then my friend and I, after that, went over to see Davy Jones, and my wife was there, my future wife, my future girlfriend and wife, but we didn't know each other, and she was not anywhere near us. But Taste of Minnesota kind of stopped being in St. Paul about 15 years ago, and they like brought it back and brought it to the Canterbury Downs at one point. But I don't know if this is the first or second year they've moved it over to downtown Minneapolis to the Nicollet Mall, which is just like a street that cars don't drive in anyway, but they blocked it off. It's food, taste, but they have music. But it was kind of like, well, we're never going to chance to see Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis live. Now, the Sound of Blackness, who Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis worked with, played before them, I guess. We didn't get down there at the time, in time for that. But after that, it was the Time, Morris Day, of course, we're in Purple Rain, and he actually shows up in Under Cherry Moon, I believe. But we saw the Time a number of years ago at the casino at Mystic Lakes. We didn't stay for that. We had some stuff. We wanted to talk to a friend and everything, but we were like trying to talk to our friend we were going to go see. But so we watched their full set, but we didn't see the set that they joined the Time, the reunion per se. But it was good. I mean, I took some video. We were kind of obstructed to an extent. I mean, it wasn't like there was nobody there, but it wasn't mobbed. I don't know, but the fact is that Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis at this point don't typically play live. They're just producers. But, maybe they're going to do more of it now, but to see them free too. So they played a little over an hour. It's like from 5 to 6:15 or something like that. But yeah, good show. I'm glad. My wife's like, well, at least I got to see them once. If we never go see them, they never play live again, or they play and the tickets are a little higher. I don't know. I would go see them again, certainly for a reasonable price. And it's kind of related. My brother, as a birthday, like a future birthday present for my wife and I, or my wife, there's a Purple Rain musical actually that's happening next April. Yeah, it is in Minneapolis at the State Theater. So I mean, I'm not that into musicals, but it's Purple Rain. You know, I've had my fair share of theater. I've watched my fair share of theater, especially when I was younger. I did a little acting even myself. Not that I was much of an actor, but I can do voices, but I don't know if anybody really cares to hear them. And impersonations like my friend I used to do on our podcast, on the Psych podcast, which was by the way 18 years ago. Last week, I think it was Sunday, was the premiere episode of Psych. So, which today is like the 20th anniversary of Anchorman the movie. But anyway, caught up in dates. But yeah, that was it. I mean, have you ever seen any of the Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis stuff live? It'd been neat to see Janet. I mean, from a set list standpoint, they did do Escapade, which when we saw Janet Jackson, it's more of like a dance show, and I don't even know if she was lip syncing. There was even a band playing, but it was in a medley. She played the song I wanted to see the most. Escapade was in a medley, so we actually got to see them. It was I don't remember the singer's name. It was a woman, good singer, but obviously it wasn't Janet Jackson. She was at like Essence Fest or something in Atlanta this past weekend. So, but yeah, I mean, we could see Jimmy Jam. He was wearing like the guitar and stuff like that, and it's not like they didn't have any stage presence. He was talking about different songs. We produced this song in Minneapolis, and I think he comes back frequently because I think he might still have season tickets to the Timberwolves. But then, of course, he grew up. Terry Lewis, though, I think he said was from like Alabama. So, but I don't know, he met Jimmy Jam, how he ended up here. I forget the story. And then my wife was pointing out that there might be a documentary coming up about them. So that's something to look forward to. But that's about it. I mean, I said I want to do a calendar update. I'm reluctant, but I suppose I could quick show the progress or lack thereof on the CD collection. I'm going to do A to Z because this is what it looks like. I don't say it's a mess. It's being alphabetized, and that's why. But as you can see, it's basically Bogart and all the floor space. But this is 90% of my CD collection. But I'm trying to get everything else. I have all the A's here on the first rack here, and a little bit on the second one. So it will be done. I'm not proud of having the condition of this room the way it is, but it's like you got to take 2 steps forward. You got to take a step back to go 2 steps forward or whatever, and then I will try to do an A to Z, and B, more importantly, I'm talking to Alex on Beer and Vinyl, get all this stuff, get all this crap put into the computer to see what kind of value it might have, just so I can have all my music collection catalogs. So I'm going to stop now. I'm going to do the big prog metal top 10 and honorable mentions list. But thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing if you subscribed recently, and we'll see you next time.